Welcome, everyone, to Link ERP Presents Laying the Foundation for Change Management Essentials for ERP. Link ERP Partners is a specialized ERP consulting firm built on seasoned Infor and Lawson experts who have been delivering successful ERP solutions since 1997. We're a team of consultants with an average of 20 plus years of Infor experience, having supported nearly 500 organizations across healthcare, public sector, education, utilities, retail, hospitality, and research. Many clients recognize us from firms like Bales and Associates, Paradigm, and ISH, where we've brought that trusted expertise back together with a modern, flexible delivery model. What differentiates us is our focus on real outcomes, not just implementation. We combine deep technical knowledge with organizational change management, ensuring solutions are adopted, embedded, and deliver long-term value after go live. Our leadership team brings hands-on, real-world experience where we lead growth and success and client success with strong emphasis on long-term partnerships, while our change management leadership capabilities led by Don Zawicki bring decades of experience guiding organizations through large-scale ERP transformation, aligning their leaders, engaging stakeholders, and preparing teams for change. At Link ERP Partners, we believe ERP success happens at the intersection of people, process, and technology. My name is Luke Neal, Director of Growth and Success here at Link ERP. I have over 9 years of experience in the Infor Lawson space. When I first met Don in 2021, I was skeptical of what organizational change management meant to my client projects. But after these last 5 years and working with her and seeing her success with my client base, it's clear to me that organizational change management is a key pillar to any organization who's moving their ERP to a modern platform. With that, I'll turn it over to Don Zawicki. Don?
Thanks very much, Luke. My name is Don Zawicki. I am the founder and chief consultant of Envoy Change Management. I've had the privilege of working with members of the leadership team from Link ERP for the last 7 or 8 years. Together, we've delivered over 200 ERP implementations across a range of organizations and industries that Luke referred to. We've consistently seen that when organizational change management is integrated into the ERP program from the beginning, organizations significantly increase adoption. They shorten their time to productivity, or out of that valley of despair, as we call it. They reduce resistance-driven delays and protect the business value of the investment of the ERP package itself. The approaches that I'm going to share in this session are grounded in the shared experience, practical, field-tested change management strategies designed to complement the strength of the ERP technology delivery work that Link ERP is in fact known for. Envoy Change Management works in close partnership with Link ERP to help organizations realize that full value of the ERP investment. If you'd like to explore additional change management or adoption support, you can learn more by reaching out to Luke or myself. And so with that, let's get started. Let's start with some data. This is from Gartner, if you're familiar with the research group. 60% of system projects fail. 90% fail to deliver any measurable return on investment. And 95% of the companies that characterize their projects as a failure have dedicated less than 10% of their budget to training, education, and change management. So those numbers can sound a little bit discouraging, but the good news is a successful ERP implementation is something we can all actively influence. And that's what you're going to gather today in today's session. So the difference in these negative outcomes versus a successful ERP implementation really comes down to how well we prepare people for the change. And that's why change management is essential to the success of an ERP implementation. If you're watching this, you're likely in one of two places. You're either starting an ERP implementation or upgrade, or you're in the middle of one already, and maybe you're struggling to balance both your day job and the project responsibilities, and you're feeling a little concerned about the uncertainty of what's to come. Perhaps you're even beginning to see some warning signs about the project going a bit off track. So whatever your reason is for being here today, the good news is, and let me share this very clearly, this training is not about adding more to your plate. This training, this conversation is about making the work that you're already doing more successful. Today, we're going to walk through the essentials of organizational change management. We call that OCM for short, just to make sure that everybody understands the acronyms here. And we're going to hope that it helps ensure that your ERP implementation doesn't just go live, but it actually works for your people. Here's what we'll cover today. We're going to define OCM and explain why it's critical for successful change. We're going to talk about the ADKAR model. So we'll describe the change journey that people go through the lens of ADKAR. And then finally, we will talk about building OCM into the Envoy implementation methodology. Technology alone doesn't make transformation successful. It's the people who do. And to ensure that your people on a project like this are successful in adopting new systems, in adopting new processes, it's essential to support them through that journey. So what is OCM, or organizational change management? Really, at its core, it's very, very simple. It's about helping people to successfully move from the way they work today to a new way of working in the future. ProSci is the global leader in organizational change management thought leadership, and they define organizational change management as the application of a structured process and a set of tools for leading the people side of change to achieve a desired outcome. In plain terms, as I said, OCM is really answering questions like, do people understand why this change is happening? Do they feel ready for it? Do they know how to work differently? And will that change actually stick once the project or the system goes live? Because here's the reality. A system isn't successful just because it's installed. It's successful when the people use it correctly and consistently. The Link ERP team and I have worked on a number of implementations, as we mentioned in our introductions. And I want to give you an example. We had a healthcare client a number of years back. They were implementing Envoy Finance and Supply Management, FSM, and Human Capital Management, HCM. So complex organization, large implementation, the footprint of the implementation was large. And the project came in on time, it came in on budget, it was technically sound. But upon go live, the teams, they were not confident in using the system. Once they went live, they reverted back to old processes, old spreadsheets, old manual workarounds. The management team didn't reinforce the new processes and ways of working once the system went live. Now let's contrast that. We had another similar client, same footprint, implementing Envoy FSM and Envoy HCM. They had leaders who were engaged in the project from the very beginning. They coached their management team on how to support the front-end users of the system. Excuse me. They delivered consistent and clear communication from the beginning of the project through go live and after. And they worked hard to reinforce the new behaviors, rewarding people for doing things the correct way, identifying issues so that they could make corrections. At the end of the day, it was the same technology at both client sites, but the outcomes were very different. And of course, given the topic of today's discussion, the reason that the two organizations' outcomes were very different is because the second organization did embed organizational change management into the implementation methodology. So let's talk a little bit about ADCAR. ADCAR is an acronym that was developed by the ProSci organization, which I referred to on the previous slide. This methodology or acronym gives us a lens in how to look at the journey that people have to go through when you're asking them to change the way they work today, using a new system tomorrow, new processes, new approaches, maybe even new reporting structures, etc. So let's take a look at this model. Essentially, what this model says is there are 5 phases that people have to go through in order to successfully change the way they're doing things. The first phase is awareness. So the awareness phase is really for us to say, how can we create awareness of the goals, the objectives of the initiative, why we're doing this project, and what is the risk if we don't? People have to understand the very basics, the what and the why. And then we move people through to the desire phase. I actually like to call that enthusiasm. So this is the phase where we understand the why, but now we've helped them to understand and buy in on the concept and the reasons why, such that they have moved from, oh, I should do this, to, oh, I want to do this. This is where we share the benefits of what the new future is going to look like so that we can motivate our stakeholders, our users, in embracing what's coming with new processes and technology changes. The next phase is the K, which is knowledge. And in this phase, we think about knowing what to do differently. So we look at what is impacting our stakeholders. Are there changes to policies? Are there changes to processes? Are there changes to job roles? Are there, of course, we know there will be changes to the technology because we're implementing a new system. So we want to share with people what that change is going to look like, both at the staff level, the management level, as well as at the leadership level. Once we've given folks an understanding of what's to come, then we move into the ability phase. This is where training occurs. This is where we allow people to build skills. We get them involved in testing of the system. We put them in role-based training so that people can build the skills and do the repetitions in the new system so that when we go live with the new system, they know how to do the new job. They know the new way of working. And then our final phase is reinforcement. So in this phase, this is talking about how we support those stakeholders along the way through the process of awareness, desire, knowledge, and ability, as well as during go live of the new system and post go live. So what structures might we have in place? What tools might we be providing to our users? For instance, job aids or quick video micro learnings for folks if they forget what they learned in training. And what are we doing to reinforce the behaviors that we've asked them to change? How are we celebrating their successes? Without the reinforcement, it's easy for folks to slip back into old ways. So we don't want to forget that final R. Change doesn't happen all at once. We can't just expect people to come in on a Monday and we tell them, hey, everything about the way you do your job is changing tomorrow, and expect them to quickly move to that new way of working. Oftentimes, we jump right to the second A, the second where it says ability. We put people in training and that's it. We don't prepare them. We don't build that awareness and explain the why. We don't build the enthusiasm so that they want to engage and commit to this project. We don't give them any insight before they go into training. We just put them in training. This model really helps folks to understand it is a journey to get a change to become embedded in a person or in your organization. This is a great model to use. Now, you don't have to memorize it all today. And I wanted to share a more practical example to help you understand how ADCAR really might work in action. So I'm going to take an example of a non-runner, and we'll use myself as the example, a non-runner who wants to run a marathon, right? So I do not run. I don't know anything about running. So what's the first thing that I need to do? I need to figure out what is a marathon and why do I want to do it? Do I just want to put myself through that torture of running 26.2 miles? No, perhaps I'm reaching a milestone birthday. Maybe it's a run for a cause that I'm passionate about. Maybe a friend has invited me, or maybe I've had a health scare and I'm saying, I'm gonna get myself in shape and I'm gonna prepare for this marathon and I'm gonna do it. So now I've got a reason why. If you don't have a real reason, there's no real start to something that's big and transformational. The next thing I'm going to do once I've determined my why, I'm committing to it. Now I've got that desire to want to learn about it, to build my skill. So I'm now at the turning point of the, oh, I should do this, to no, I want to do this race. I'm committed to doing it. Well, now I need to build some knowledge on how to prepare for a marathon, right? I need to think about a training plan. I need to move from couch to walking, from walking to running, from running 1 mile to 2 miles, 2 miles to 5 miles, 5 miles to 10, and on and on. So I need that plan to help guide me. I'm also going to need probably a change to my nutrition, to my hydration, to the gear. Do I have the right shoes? And of course, injury prevention. I don't know how many of you may have started a new exercise regime in a couple of days. You've pulled a muscle here or pulled a muscle there, and it kind of sets you back a bit. So we want to go in with full knowledge about what we need to do so that we can actually build that ability to run the miles. So now I've got the knowledge, I've got my plan, I've got my the training plan, the nutrition plan, I got the new shoes, I'm ready to go. Now I've got to actually put foot to pavement. And I need to start executing that plan. I need to do the reps every day, starting with the walking, then the jogging, then the running 1 mile, then 2, then 3, building that endurance, following that plan, and preparing for race day conditions, right? So I have to not just run on the sunny days, but if it's cold, I got to get out there and run. If it's raining, I've got to get out there and run. I would like to take you back to our project context. Think about how when you're in testing your new system or in the training classes for your employees, that you want to test all of your scenarios. What are the worst case scenarios that can occur? What are the exception processes that you have that might occur when you're running accounts payable or running a payment run or generating general ledger entries, for instance. So you've got to do the reps in all conditions to build that ability so that you know when you are ready to run that marathon or go live with that system, that you have the ability, that you know you can do it. And then finally, that reinforcement. Training for a marathon is going to get tough. So I need to build in support structures in place, right? Maybe it's having that friend to call that knows that when I call that I need lifted up, that they're going to encourage me to get out there. Maybe they'll get out there and run with me. Maybe I join a running group, right? And I want to celebrate those small wins. So my first 10-mile run, I'm going to celebrate somehow, right? We do the same thing when we're in a transformational journey like an Envoy implementation. We've got to make sure that we are supporting our team all the way through the project, as well as at go live, and then of course rewarding once we cross that finish line. I hope that gives you a little bit more of a practical understanding of how ADKAR can be used as a lens for transforming anything, whether it's your personal fitness, a goal that you have, or an Envoy implementation. So together with Link ERP, Envoy, myself, my team, we have built a process. We've taken the ADKAR concept and built that into the Envoy implementation journey. So if you're already on your Infor implementation or upgrade journey, you've probably seen these phases. We've got standard phases of a project. The first phase is the inception phase. We're just getting up and getting going. Then we move into the build and design phase where we're designing our processes, designing what the system is going to look like, and we build it. And then we move into several phases of testing to test to make sure that the system works as we need it to. And then we move into training phases, getting all of our end users prepared to use the system. Then we go live. And then after go live, we have optimization phases. We take a quarter to look to see how are we operating? Have we reached our pre-go live levels of productivity, that sort of thing. So what do we do at Envoy? When the Link ERP project team puts together the project plan in these phases, we embed what is important from an organizational change management perspective based on that ADKAR model. So during that inception phase, we are looking at aligning the leaders around building a vision statement so that leaders of the project can communicate why we're doing this project and what's the risk if we don't do this project. During this inception phase and during the design and build phase, we also work on engaging with the end users or stakeholders, as we call them in change management, and try to build that enthusiasm. We do that by demonstrating the benefits that are going to be yielded as a result of this project. Maybe manual efforts are going to be reduced, automation is going to be increased, people don't have to spend hours and hours keying data into a system. Instead, they can do more analytical or critical thinking type activities. So we look for the benefits that the system is going to provide to the organization to build that enthusiasm. Now, as we move into that testing and training phase, I'm sure you can relate, this is now our knowledge building and ability building phase, right? We're giving people the opportunity to put hands on the keyboard, do the repetitions so that they know how the system is going to operate once we go live. And then, of course, at Go Live, we have a number of activities that are really critical, including lots of communication, making sure everybody knows what's happening and when, and a lot of reinforcement of the expectations of what's to happen when we go live and post go live. And of course, a lot of the reinforcement activities, celebrating the wins. Every go live is rocky, but every go live also has something to celebrate. And then in that post go live phase, the optimization phase, we really take the time to stop, listen, see how the implementation has gone, determine how the system is working, how the processes are working, and respond to the feedback that we're given so that we can improve and optimize processes or system functionality during that phase. All right, so at the end of the day, systems don't deliver value, people do. The Link ERP and Envoy Change Management integrated approach really helps to ensure that people are ready to adopt the system. And adoption is that difference between success and failure. We've learned today that the ADKAR model provides a really clear path for helping to lead successful change. And finally, that a structured change approach results in better adoption and better outcomes. Whether you're running a marathon or implementing Infor, success is not accidental. And the finish line is not the only goal that you're trying to achieve on a project like this. Instead, really, it's focusing on the intentional building of the new capabilities throughout the life cycle of the project, building change into every step along the way. Well, I hope that you have found something in this training that has been helpful or enlightening. And I'd like to encourage you to join us for all three of the sessions. So the next two sessions coming up are building alignment, energizing leadership for ERP success. So this is the role that leaders play. And in that training, we'll talk about who leaders really are, what their role is, and the key activities that make a project successful from that leader standpoint. And then the third session in our series is clearing the obstacles, managing resistance to change. Every project like this will have some resistance, and sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's covert. We don't want to brush it under the rug, but instead learn how to recognize resistance and how to handle it so that we don't have roadblocks thrown in our way or risks added to the profile of the project. So 2 more interesting sessions, and I hope to see you back here again. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Luke.
Thank you so much, Dawn. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you and your organization navigate your current or future ERP project, please feel free to reach out to us and schedule a one-on-one. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.